It's rare that we hear other musicians give people their flowers. And it's also rare that we as fans give musicians their flowers too. A heartfelt compliment goes a long way, but we don't really see that happen with people very often, or if we do, it kind of gets drowned out in all the other noise. But recently, Lil Yachty did an interview with Bon Iver and shared that Bon Iver is his favorite musician and he's a big fan. And this was kind of surprising to me because they come from different genres, different styles, but at the same time, you could feel the emotion between these two. And it's a pretty wholesome moment. Here's a clip from the interview.
You are genuinely, I think, one of the best musicians, creatives, artists, vocalists. I'm glazing. I'm a glaze this entire piece of content.
Thank you.
Genuinely, you've been my #1 artist yearly wrapped for the last like 7 years, you know? Again, I said McGee was #1 last year, but besides that, you have been #1 because your music has been like the soundtrack for everything that I do. When you hit me, I was like, I will be there yesterday. You know, had you been like, man, I need you to just be like, I kind of need you here in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm coming, Justin. You know, like,
Yeah.
but that's just because I appreciate your artistry so much, and I've wanted to tell you.
That's a pretty touching moment for me. And I don't know why we don't tell other musicians how important they are to us every day or every so often. Because when I think about it, there's so many musicians out there that have helped me get to where I am today, not only through just providing me with music, but also other people that have been a mentor to me, have helped me see around corners, and have just been an inspiration. So why don't we tell people more often? Well, a couple of reasons. Oddly, sometimes it's considered uncool to tell someone that they mean a lot to you or they've done a lot for you. It is a tough thing sometimes to do because you're being emotionally vulnerable and you're telling someone almost from a point of, hey, I had a struggle and you helped me, and we don't like feeling weak. When we share something intimate about ourselves with someone, it doesn't always feel good and it's intimidating. But the irony in the situation is artists are sharing something very personal about themselves through their music and through their art. So we should kind of take that into consideration. Like, we only feel inspired or motivated or able to go and do whatever we need to do every day because they provided their art with us. And that's pretty intimate. And we should be able to have that vulnerability with them and say, hey, the intimacy that you put into your art, I need to kind of get over myself and provide a little moment of intimacy between the two of us and say, thank you. It helped me do X, Y, and Z. And we don't see this too often in certain genres of music, but when we do, it's very touching. And there's tons of people that have come before us that we kind of need to thank. You know, there may be people right now here in your everyday life where like, I need to thank them, or I can see how this person's helped me. But there may be people in older generations that you also probably should shout out and say thank you for too, because they've laid a lot of the groundwork for more people than you may realize. There's oftentimes in music documentaries or in sometimes interviews where people will say, you know, this artist from a long time ago really inspired me, or I listened to these records that my parents had and it's older generations of music and it really inspired me to make music or to do a certain style. There's a couple of interviews where Dave Grohl just says, I listen to a lot of disco, the Gap Band, and I use a lot of their styles in Nirvana and like different genres, disco and grunge music. But he says he wouldn't be the drummer he is today without the Gap Band.
Dude, stop saying I'm a good drummer because I'm the most basic fucking drummer. If you listen to Nevermind, the Nirvana record, I pulled so much stuff from the Gap Band and Cameo and Tony Thompson on every one of those songs. All that. That's
Wow.
It's old disco. That's all it is.
Can I not hear that?
Nobody makes the connection.
That's straight up Gap Band.
I told Tony Thompson that came to my house for a barbecue with somebody, and I was like, man, I just want to thank you because, you know, I owe so much. I've been ripping you off my whole life. He goes, I know.
Whoa.
That big disco flam. Like, it works every time.
And we don't get enough of these moments, to be honest. And maybe there are these moments and they happen in private because, you know, they're tough, they're vulnerable moments between an audience and their artist. We don't know how long we're going to be here. It's just that simple. And while we are here, we should express gratitude for the people that are willing to be intimate and help us examine our lives through a different perspective. And that perspective sometimes causes us to do great things. It can be our motivation for getting up in the morning, for going to the gym, for falling in love, for a struggling relationship. One of the larger aspects of art is when we're trying to feel some sort of emotion, or we're feeling an emotion but we don't know what it is. Art is there to help us express it and use someone else's perspective as a way to align ours, to know, oh, what they're saying of how they're feeling is exactly how I'm feeling. And sometimes that's done through poetry, sometimes it's done through music, sometimes it's done through a painting, but whatever it is, we are able to express ourselves and find alignment with our emotions through art. And the art we find incredibly valuable, but sometimes we don't always find the artist incredibly valuable. So if there's an artist in your life that you know has made a big impact on you, a poet, a visual artist, a musician, whoever it is, reach out to them today at the start of their week and let them know, hey, you've made something that has inspired me, that has brought me joy, brought me comfort, has motivated me, has helped me be a better person, has got me through a tough time, whatever it is. And they're going to honestly appreciate it because artists, like I said, we just don't get that intimate appreciation very often. And sometimes that's kind of because art is treated as a commodity. You can listen to our music on any streaming service you want. You can download images off the internet, and we don't necessarily get the full value or see the value that art has until we're in a very tough emotional spot. So today, tell an artist thank you. It's going to mean a lot to them, and it's going to be able to inspire and motivate them to keep making art. Because without the personal connection we have with our audience, everything is really just a number. How many views, how many listens, how many streams, and that doesn't have a lot of emotion. Rather have 10 people reach out and tell us how much they love our work than 100,000 streams. So tell an artist today that you appreciate what they do, their work has inspired you or helped you feel something good in your life. And if there's an artist that you really want to shout out, leave it in the comments below. Have them come to this video and let them know that you appreciate them and what they've done in your life for you today. So drop those artists in the comments, tell them how they've helped you, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.